Hello everybody and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really happy to have you here with me as we discuss a really fun topic, as you can see from the title of this video, and that is, are crystals the new bananas? I'm really excited to discuss this with you today, so let's get started. This is a topic I want to explore with you all today, and I really welcome and invite your opinions and your insights, especially from people who are crystal lovers or who are crystal shops. I definitely have several friends who sell crystals and I love supporting them, but I would really like to ask, are crystals the new bananas? And what I mean by that is, as you well know, within the EU, there is a very strict standard for bananas. There needs to be a certain size, shape, degree of the curve, and colour, length. It's really strict on how they have to look to be accepted and attractive for people to buy. And I kind of feel like this is starting to happen with crystals. I've noticed there's a trend. It's definitely going to be longer than the last, few months or years, but I've just become quite aware of it, where crystals need to be perfect. And I'm seeing so many perfect crystals online. I feel as though they are starting to look quite generic and quite forced and almost quite masculine. Crystals in their raw form are quite feminine. They come from Mother Earth, they're connected to her, and they are her expression of herself, if you like, in a very healing form. It's kind of like crystals are a tangible, physical expression of energetic healing. Oh, I love that. That's cool. So that's kind of what crystals are like. And I feel as though we're making them generic. We're making them uniform. We're making them look all the same. There's no shape or movement or fluidity or flow to them, which is what would be quite a feminine element to them. And I have this beautiful selenite raw chunk that I want to use as an example here, which is just totally in its raw form. It's not perfect. It's not, shaped. It's totally rough. I mean, yes, selenite is quite a fragile crystal to work with, so there's definitely that element. However, it's really nice that it's in its raw form. I can connect to it because I can connect to its truth in this form. Whereas if we take my rose quartz point, which by the way, I do really love this crystal and I have definitely really connected to this. I've used it for a couple of rituals and things like that. But it is perfect. Every single side is basically the same size, the same length. There's a couple of flaws, which I would expect because a crystal isn't meant to be perfect. But on the whole, it's a really perfect looking crystal. It looks like it's man-made, right? It doesn't look like it's come out of earth, whereas this one does. And I just feel like it's really important to notice those differences. And I feel like a question we need to be asking ourselves when we're buying crystals is, why am I purchasing it? Am I purchasing it because I want it to bring forth the healing properties it offers, such as its mental, physical, emotional, spiritual healing properties, for, let's say, for anxiety or for sickness or for depression or for stress or for sadness or for anger? Or am I buying this crystal because it will look aesthetically pleasing and I can take great social media posts and get loads of likes from it? I've just noticed when I see people buying crystals online, they are really getting quite, is it perfect? Does it have any flaws? Let's be real. A crystal comes from Mother Earth. It's not meant to be perfect. And do you really want to connect with the energy of something that has been molded to become so perfect? It's almost lost its essence. And obviously there's the ethical side of crystals. Should we keep mining? Should we really be doing that? Or should we actually just circulate what we have? There's a lot of crystals already out there. So do we need to keep ripping Mother Earth apart? There's an ethical debate there, and I'm not going to get too much into that right now. I just want to really talk about how we're almost trying to make them more perfect than they are. Are we trying to make them more generic, if you like? So another question you can ask yourself is, how did you get into working with crystals or buying crystals? What was your reason behind it? Was it because of their healing properties, or was it because they're really pretty and they've become quite fashionable and popular nowadays? And again, asking yourself that as you buy a crystal. As I say, if you have friends who sell crystals and you want to support them, I think that's fantastic. I'm all for supporting small businesses, but remembering to feel a connection to the crystal when you buy it, not just because it'll look cute and it's perfect, but because it is actually going to offer some healing for something that you're experiencing, because that's really what connecting to crystals is about. It's about you're going through something, whether it's on a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual level, and you happen to go into a shop or you happen to see a crystal being sold online and you just feel a connection to it. And you're like, oh, I really feel strongly, I need that crystal. And then you look up the properties and you think, oh, yeah, okay, I am experiencing stress connected to that. Or yeah, I have got high blood pressure. Or yeah, I am actually going through grief and that Apache tear would be really perfect for me. So looking at the reasons behind why you're connecting to that crystal, and if you have originally started by buying crystals purely for the aesthetics, then I just encourage and invite you to look at the properties and the meanings of the crystals and to see actually how much they will resonate with why you bought them, why you felt a connection to them, what you were going through at that time, and then try and connect with them more in a healing sense. And just go through a really beautiful journey with it. You know, you can get a journal out and you can put the date in and say, today I bought an amethyst and I was feeling X, Y, and Z. And when I looked at the properties, I noticed X, Y, and Z were included in it. And that has allowed me to X, Y, and Z, right? I mean, totally it's up to you what you want to go for. Or maybe, you know, it's citrine and you think, actually, I'd really like some abundance financially, and you get citrine and you notice that when you have citrine, money comes more freely to you, and remembering to allow it to come freely but also balance how you spend and save it. And really noticing how the crystal aids you on a spiritual level, mind, body and spirit, as well as how it can look nice on your altar or in your social media posts, you know, on your bookshelf, whatever. Balancing those two things out, I think that's really important. My journey with crystals actually started when I was quite young, when I was about, I think I must have been about 4 or 5. I was being really badly bullied and my mum took me to see a hypnotherapist, and she worked on what was happening, and then she gave me a small Ulexite to help. And I just remember being fascinated by it. I was absolutely blown away that it was there to help me, and I was really small, so I just remember that it was really interesting to me. And then a few years later I went on a school trip and we went to a steam railway station, and there was a small shop, and I remember all the kids were buying key rings and models of the steam train, and I was buying the blue lace agate crystal and a couple of slices of amethyst. Everybody was like, why are you buying that when we're here looking at trains? And I was like, I don't know, I just feel really connected to it. And years later, when I looked up what blue lace agate meant, it blew me away that it was exactly what I needed at that time. And then I didn't look at crystals really for a while. I mean, I must have been about 8 or 9 when I went on that school trip. And then I didn't really kind of get into them or access their spiritual healing capacity until I was about 21, 22, when I was going through depression. And I remember I bought an argonite round crystal and I put it into one of those spiral cages and wore it as a necklace. And I felt a lot of anger when I was depressed. A lot of suppressed anger came to the surface, and I found that crystal really helped me to transmute that anger, which was so powerful. I wore that nearly every day. I'd obviously sage it and cleanse it in between, but I wore that nearly every day for a few months actually. And then after I experienced how that crystal actually impacted me and how it actually helped me, I just thought, this is so cool. I'm gonna look into this and just connect with them. And I used to go to this really cool crystal shop which had just really lovely tumbled stones and raw stones for 50p or £1, and I really missed that shop. It was great. It had larger pieces, but I quite liked wearing my crystals because I liked how they helped me on a healing level, so I wanted to physically wear them. And I just used to go into the shop and allow myself to be drawn to the crystal that resonated with what I was experiencing, and it was fascinating. And when my dog passed away, I went into the shop and I was actually drawn to an Apache tear, which is very good for helping with grief and loss and expressing and connecting to those emotions. I just was blown away how every single time I went in, it would exactly be the crystal that I needed. So for me, I definitely like to come from a space of honoring what a crystal is really there for, honoring that a crystal really has these healing properties, and tapping into that, utilizing that, working with the crystal. It's nice to have a crystal look pretty on your altar, but really you want to be honoring why you've got it, what it's actually teaching you, what it's actually bringing for you, how it can actually help and heal you. Maybe you do enjoy wearing it as jewelry. Obviously right now I'm wearing an enormous moonstone ring, and then I also have some crystals. I have a watermelon tourmaline, and I can't think what this one's called. I'll see if I can remember and pop it here somewhere. But I've definitely always really enjoyed wearing the crystals. I have in the past placed crystals under my bed in crystal grids, and I've also meditated with crystals, you know, like on my throat chakra, on my third eye, whatever. And also when I was going for healing, when I was depressed, the healer I used to see would place crystals around my chakras or around certain areas that he was working on. And I can remember one of the first times that he actually placed crystals on me. Like, he placed a sheet over me and then placed crystals on me, and he placed one around my solar plexus. I don't know which one it was because my eyes were closed, but when he took it off after he'd completed the healing, I honestly felt like there was honey stuck to the bottom of this crystal, and he was pulling it off me, and I could literally feel like the energetic imprint of it. You know, like when you have a spoon with honey on and you lift it up off the lid, for example, and it literally like has that string of honey connecting to it before it falls away. That's what I felt like with this crystal. It was crazy cool. I loved it. And I definitely feel like when I was going for healing with him, partly having those crystals and some of the larger crystals that he had placed around the room really helped me to reopen to my intuition, reopen to receiving messages from the universe. And that's when I started getting really deep downloads and insights and awakening my third eye again. So for me, crystals have really strongly been a part of my healing journey, and I love them, and I just think they're incredible for what they can offer. So if you're coming from a space of healing and you work with them, I think that's great. I love that. If you're coming from a space of, I just want it to look pretty on social media, then I just invite you to look at it from a healing perspective. Just look it up. Books that I used to use were the Crystal Bibles by Judy Hall. They are so good, but there are so many awesome crystal books. I'll put some in the description actually, because it's so nice to see what you can actually receive from a crystal and how you can actually use it and work with it. So I'll put some cool books in the description box below for you to connect with. So I just really invite you, next time you go to buy a crystal, to just ask yourself, why am I connecting to this crystal? Is it because it looks perfect and it'll be beautiful for me to have in my house, or is it actually because of these beautiful healing properties it's bringing, or is it a combination of both? And just honor yourself in that self-loving way. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's video.